Is Map Show, and it's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. And we would love to have you join us each week as we begin to discuss things that are going to help us on our journey to our destination. And of course, tonight's topic is one of those surprise topics. And you may have seen that tonight we are going to talk about the fact that I quit and that you should quit too. So I'm going to share a few things with you that I hope they are inspiring and that you can identify with them so that they can begin to move you from where you are to where you want to be. I was asking the question, firstly, I'm going to quit associating with crabs, and I'm going to begin to associate with those people who are going in the direction of my destination. I want to associate with like-hearted people. And what do I mean by associating with crabs? Well, when I was younger, I learned at a very early age that if you put a crab inside a bucket, it is able to escape. Provided it can get its nipper to the rim of that bucket, it is able to escape and get out and be free. But if you put two crabs inside the bucket or more, as the one crab is wanting to get out, the others pull it back in. So the question is, are you associating with crabs, and is it perhaps time for you to quit associating with the crabs in your life? And some of these crabs are people who are close to you, people who say they believe in you and that they want to support you, and yet all the while they're keeping you from fulfilling your potential and purpose in life. Here's another thing that I'm going to quit doing, and I'm going to quit blaming others for my situation in life and start believing in the mandate that I've been given, believing in myself, believing in my God, and so on. So I want to ask you today, who are you blaming? What thing are you blaming? Are you waiting for someone else to change? Because I've realized that whoever I blame, whatever thing I blame, has complete control over my life, and I cannot move forward. I cannot change as long as I blame someone or something. The day that I realize it is my fault and I can do something about it, that's the day change begins to happen. The wheels of transformation begin to roll. So let's stop blaming. Let's quit blaming and start believing. I love people. Well, I don't. But, I want to quit being critical of others. It's so easy to find fault. It's so easy to see what other people are doing wrong. There was a great verse I read once that said, stop trying to take the log out of someone else's eye until you've first removed the speck out of your own. And what I've realized is that the speck in someone else's eye is a reflection of the log in my own eye. The things that I'm struggling with, the things that I am finding difficult to grasp, becomes the thing that I seek in others or see in others. And then I'm critical of those. Let's stop finding fault. Start finding favor. Start finding things that you can give credit to. And so there are so many people that just love to credit themselves. They seek to be the number one in everything. They're in front. If they're not in front, they're out of the picture. And so let's quit criticizing and start giving credit where credit is due. I'm going to quit being distracted. Quit being distracted by devices. Quit being distracted by naysayers. Quit being distracted by things that are designed to keep me from the focus that I need to have on my vision. I'm going to quit being distracted. And I'm going to become determined, absolute resolve to focus on my destination. You've been called. You are destined for such a time as this. The reason your heart is beating and your lungs are breathing is because your destiny is needed. It is now. This is your time. Stop being distracted by television. Stop being distracted by what other people believe you should be doing. Become wholly and completely committed to the vision that you have, that you've been called for. We need people to be not chasing after success, but living a life of significance that's going to have an impact that matters. I'm going to quit making excuses. Have you made an excuse today? Well, I'm sorry I was late because there was traffic on the road. Well, isn't there normally traffic on the road? Excuses. I'm too busy. I can't do that right now. Tomorrow is another day. What excuses are you making habitually that has become part of your language? I'm going to stop making excuses and start engaging with passion in the things that I was born to do. I'm going to engage my gifts and talents. I'm going to engage with people in a meaningful way. Life is too short to make excuses. Let's make things happen. Hey, I'm going to stop listening to things that cause me to fear, that cause me to feel anxious, that cause me to feel depressed, whatever it might be. But fear is no longer going to be part of my future. Instead of having fear, I'm going to quit fear and I'm going to step in faith. I'm going to begin to move forward. I'm going to take a step where there seems to be no landing, but I know that when my foot gets there, there's going to be a firm and solid foundation. And when I put my foot on that firm, solid foundation, it's going to be a foundation that's jam-packed with the resources necessary for me to take the next step of faith. Fear, be afraid. Fear, be afraid. Faith is coming. Faith is coming. And you and I can make something happen in a remarkable way when we step in faith. I'm going to quit groaning and moaning about the situation, that location where you currently habit. Quit complaining about it. Instead of groaning, I'm going to start growing. I'm going to begin to seek out the lessons in every single situation. I'm going to seek the blessing inside what other people perceive to be the curse. There is no room for groaning. Every moment that I groan is robbing me of an opportunity to grow as a person, to grow into the person that I was born to be, for you to grow into the person that you were born to be. There's no question in my mind that you were created for a purpose that the world cannot do without. I've been saying that for 24 years. I will continue saying it. And what's so exciting is that other people are beginning to say it because they begin to realize that there is something significant for every single person. The reason your DNA is unique, your fingerprints are unique, your retina scan is unique, your voice is unique, your face is unique, every single cell in your body is unique. Surely that gives you some indication that you are special, valuable, beyond measure. And if that is the case, there's a great probability that you have something unique to bring to this world. I know that your head has been conditioned to think you must be like everyone else and that you must conform to the things of this world. My heart tells me something different. My heart says, you are a one of a kind. You are born for such a time as this. There's an idea inside of you that is powerful beyond belief. There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come, and you are that idea. Your time has come. I'm going to quit making decisions with my head when it comes to direction and destiny. When it comes to method and process, my head can help me. It can figure out things. It can decide what the next step should be as I head. But when it comes to my destination, when it comes to my destiny, when it comes to the future, when it comes to the idea of generational thinking, I'm going to quit listening to my head, because my head is filled with other people's thoughts, with books I've read, with other things that are constantly bombarding me. I'm going to begin to be quiet, and I'm going to listen to the heartbeat, the thing that makes my heart pulsate with life. That's what I'm going to listen to. I'm going to quit listening to the head and listening to people that say, let's be realistic, let's be logical. Because people that use that language are thinking about method and process. They're not thinking about destination. Let's get that destination clear in our head. I'm going to quit thinking that things are impossible. In fact, I'm going to celebrate the impossible, because the impossible things are the things that my imagination was designed to give birth to. Impossible already exists. It is there in the future. It's just waiting for somebody to have the courage to step into the future and bring it into the present. Impossible is nothing, as one of the companies that I did some training with once told me and taught me. If you can see it and you can believe it, it was already done. Let's begin to have that kind of approach. I love people who want to seek justice, and there are many people who working in that sphere of finding justice for others. But I'm going to quit seeking justice. I'm going to quit seeking justice. I'm going to focus on the journey, the destination. Yes, somebody's done you wrong. So what? Some people will do you wrong. Some people will try and harm you. But there's no point lying in a huddle or in a heap complaining about that situation and spending the rest of your life trying to recuperate what somebody's stolen from you. Just move on. Get on with the journey. Your destination is more important than that particular situation. We've all experienced something that has gone wrong in our life. We've all experienced something that has been hurtful. We've all experienced things that we can certainly complain about. We can tell others about. We have a cup of tea over it, or a cup of coffee, or we even go and braai a sausage or a chop. Here in Pretoria, where I live, and we tell people and we commiserate with one another. Hey, it's time to quit. It's time to quit seeking justice. Let's get on with the journey. Your country, your city, your continent needs to move forward. Let's get on with it. Let's stop waiting for politicians to make the decision. Just get on with it. Govern where you are, where you find yourself. Do what's right where you are. Let's begin to change the trend. Let's put the wheels of transformation put the wheels of transformation in motion. It's not going to be someone else. It's you in the driving seat. I was talking to somebody from one of the Scandinavian countries this week, and they highlighted what we have begun to inherit here in Africa. And that is that in Scandinavia, if you don't have the piece of paper that says you've got a master's degree or a doctorate or something like that, people don't want to hear you. They have put their faith in a piece of paper where somebody has gone to learn something that other people have told them to learn. There's no passion, there's no life in what they do, but they are good at it perhaps, but they're not fully engaged. They do it from 8 to 5, and they just can't wait to get out the office. But that's where they've put their faith, in the piece of paper. I'm going to stop seeking knowledge so that I can get a piece of paper or a qualification that justifies my existence. I'm going to be kicking up dust. If you want to find me, find the dust trail, and you better start moving fast, because that's to catch up to where it is. And I think every one of us was born to kick up some dust. Let's begin to move, create momentum. I can hear people saying, but you know. I'm going to quit saying, but you know. I'm going to just keep moving. Okay, let's put our ears back. I think put the blinkers on, like those horses that run the Durban July here in South Africa, or whatever other races that take place around the world. Let's put those blinkers on so we're not affected by those around us. See the finish line ahead of you and just go for it. Kick up some dust, kick up some turf, whatever it might be. Just get moving. I'm going to quit listening to that inner voice that tries to condemn me. I'm going to quit listening to that inner voice who says I can't. I'm going to stop listening to that inner voice who is my adversary. I'm going to stop listening to that inner voice that seeks to see my demise. And I'm going to begin to learn instead from the mistakes I make. And I know that life's a journey. And I also know that mistakes are opportunities to learn. And I want to learn as much as I can in this journey. And the only way to learn a lot, when I say one of the ways that's extremely a valuable teacher, is making mistakes. So in line with this, I'm going to stop, or I'm going to quit living life safely and get out there and make the mistakes that I need to make, and learn from others who've made mistakes before, that I don't need to make the same ones, and begin to focus on learning. I'm gonna quit putting on a false front, a mask. I'm going to quit wearing a mask. You know, when we wear a mask, we have to buy things that we cannot afford. We have to live in places that we don't like. We have to drive cars that impress other people. We have to go on holidays every year simply because others are there, because we don't want to let down our facade. We don't want other people to see who we really are. We don't want them to understand that actually we are nothing, but everything is the result of our slavery to a financial system. So I'm going to quit wearing the mask and start sharing the message that I was born to share. What is your message? What is the message that you were born to share? What have you brought to this world? Let's write it down. Let's speak it out. Let's draw it in picture form. Let's share it with the world, because you may have the key that someone else is looking for, that can unlock their future, that can ignite a flame within them that burns with passion. And because their name is on their flame, you may very well, through your engagement, enable them to find their name. To find their name. I'm going to quit making news a priority. Looking at the headlines on the street posts as I drive wherever I might be going, listening to a radio station telling me what's wrong with the world, watching television, watching YouTube video clips, social media, whatever it is. I'm going to quit listening to the negative news. My grandmother used to always say, no news is good news. And man, news is like a cancer. It's going to eat away your enthusiasm, your optimism, your belief in the future that can be better than the present. So why not become a newsmaker instead? Become a newsmaker instead. And the way to become a newsmaker is to do things that are noteworthy, things that make other people sit up and take note. You have that ability. I'm going to quit talking about obstacles. I'm going to quit talking about the reasons why I cannot move forward. I'm going to stop talking about the lack of finance, the lack of education, the lack of whatever it might be. I'm going to quit living in that state of lack where all you see is obstacles, and tell the world of the obstacles that are in front of you. I've realized that the things that I describe are the things that have consumed my mind. If I'm talking about problems, situations, circumstances, issues, and the like, it means they are consuming my mind. There is no space in my mind for those things. So today I quit focusing on the obstacles and start seeking out to overcome those obstacles and finding the opportunities that lie ahead. I think the reason I said I am going to quit and you should too is because one of the things that I'm going to quit is procrastination. You heard anybody has a procrastination issue in their life? Well, procrastination is there for everyone who is not engaged in their passion and their purpose. If you're engaged in what you love, you don't procrastinate. I can't imagine somebody having an opportunity to do something that will make their day the best day ever, sitting and procrastinating about it. They're not going to do that. Procrastination is when you're engaging in things that you shouldn't be engaged in, or you feel you have to do because you have certain responsibilities, certain debt that you've got to pay. That causes procrastination. If you're doing something that you love, you don't procrastinate on that. I mean, imagine sitting down and watching television, some boring movie of somebody else's, when you could be doing something that you love, that puts a smile on your face, that makes other people's lives change. Let's connect with what we're passionate about. And you know, I'm going to end with this. I'm going to quit quitting. That might sound like an oxymoron. I'm going to quit quitting. I'm going to quit giving up before the finish line. I'm going to quit stopping at the bend in the road because I know the bend is not the end. I'm going to quit having mediocre goals and dreams. I'm going to quit trying to impress others. I'm going to quit quitting. I'm going to quit giving up. I'm going to remain resolute to the one thing that I have been called and sent to do. There is no option. You cannot quit. The microwave cannot quit being a microwave, because the moment it does, it finds itself in the rubbish heap. I don't know if you've noticed. If an appliance stops doing what it was purposed to do, man, it might see a repair person. A repair person may visit. It might go back to the factory for somebody to fix it. But if that does not return to its original mandate, if it does not begin to do what it should be doing, it's going to be thrown on the rubbish heap. So I'm going to quit quitting, and I'm going to begin quaking. And what I mean quaking, I think of the word earthquake. I think of shaking. I think of move. I think of a rumble. I think of a noise. I think of something that's happening. I think of something that causes other people to stop and say, hang on, hang on. There's got to be more to life than this. There has to be. My life is more valuable than things. My life is meaning. There's got to be more to life than just getting up on Monday morning and repeating what I did last week and the week before and the month before and the year before. Surely I cannot be doing the same thing that my parents and my grandparents and my grandparents did. There should be something more to life than just doing what others tell me to do. You and I can begin to create a world-shattering movement where people begin to engage with purpose in a way that transforms every aspect of society where they find themselves. And you and I can do that. I'm going to stop at the letter Q tonight. because I think it's time I quit quitting and that you do the same. It's been wonderful sharing this message with you. Gustav is going to be joining me just after the break, and we're going to have a short little chat about a few things. And I know that as we do, you also have some things that you'd like to share. I see there's some comments. We'll take a look at that. Please tell us where you're from, who you are, and if you have a question, a comment, something you'd like to share, an insight, please do so. And remember, every Wednesday evening, 7 p.m., we are here on fire, ready to get the wheels of transformation moving. Our mission is to make life purposeful. And if you want to be part of the train, be part of that mission, get on the train, let's go, because this train's about to move. I'm excited tonight, more excited than ever before about the future. And we're going to come back right after the short little break. We'll see you on the other side. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to just not be too excited about the future, if that is even possible. But tonight, it's just wonderful and a joy for me to welcome the other G to Map for Life. And my wife had a wonderful name. She struggled to say this name, so she used to say the word good stuff. And so for those of you who are not from South Africa, or perhaps you do not speak Afrikaans or Dutch, good stuff is about to join us. And so Gustav, great to have you joining me this evening. Wonderful to bring you into the screen. And now people can see what really good stuff looks like. Welcome. Let me just unmute your mic there, and we'll be able to hear all the good things that you share with us. There we go.
Unmuted. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Glenn.
Welcome. Great to have you, Gustav. And I can see that tonight your hair tells me that I should believe that you are wise, but as I was watching and giving the talk tonight, I noticed that your hair was turning dark again, and I saw energy creeping back into those bones, and you were deciding, hey, retirement, forget it, that's not for me. We're going to be moving on into the future and making retirement a refirement exercise. Tell us a bit, Gustav. You know, there's some people that I see joining us this evening from Uganda. Jane, lovely to have you joining us. Cliff, he hasn't told us where he's from, but he's from Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. Great to have you joining us. And of course, our good and faithful Rion Berger, all the way from Lydenburg, there in the eastern part of South Africa, close to Mozambique. I know he's probably 2 hours drive from Mozambique, but he's closer than I am to Mozambique. Welcome to all of you. Lovely to have you joining us. And I'm sure you'd love to hear how Gustav got to know all about Map for Life and what led him to be with us this evening. Gustav, over to you.
Yes, I basically went on my own many years ago, 10 years ago. Actually more, now 25. And then I started to look for more clear direction. And, you know, with every new business, you get involved in your daily battles to survive your own new venture. And So recently, I managed to do what I always wanted to do, to become part of a Map for Life, and so I'm on that process. But yeah, it's a very good topic tonight's very, very important one. I think one of the most important topics, and it is related to what we discussed a couple of weeks ago about discipline. They are closely related,
I love
and
this discipline.
it's the challenge is it's easy to quit, and it's always not so easy not to quit, and to be distracted, and to be quit in many ways. Like you said, quit is not always a macro thing. It's not only quitting the big things you want to do, but even quitting the day, also quitting the things you have to do during the day that is important, and not necessarily let's say important to do, but not necessarily critical to your destiny. And I see that personally also as a constant battle, that you get up in the morning and you know what you have to do, what you want to do for the long term, and then the water pump breaks, or the cat swallowed a mouse, and left the rest on the carpet. So suddenly you turn around and say, what happened to my day? And but I think the important things is to not to quit the things, or basically to quit the things that are there, that doesn't happen like life happens, but that you actually cause to happen. And what I mean with cause to happen is getting onto Facebook, having a look at what your family or friends are saying, and the next time you realize an hour is gone. That is quitting what your destiny is.
I was just thinking, as you're saying that, Gustav, we got to quit the social media, but we mustn't quit the map show.
That's right.
This is
Yes.
This is the kind of stuff, the input that we need to be having.
Yes, and yeah, so I think that is what I actually wanted to put emphasis on, is the discipline to keep to what you are destined to do, and to carry on, never mind what happens in life.
You know, just this morning, Gustav, we were having a discussion, and this word discipline that you brought over here, and diligence, and those are powerful D's. There's lots of other D's that maybe are distracting or dangerous, but these two, in fact, discipline and diligence, are dangerous to mediocrity. When you begin to engage in those things, change happens. And or somebody once said to me, shift happens. You know, we begin to move.
Yes.
And I just this morning, I was talking to a group of people, and I was saying that may this be the best month ever. And they said, in closing, somebody said, yes, September. So I said, no, not September. I'm talking about August. August is not over. August finishes at midnight on the 31st of August. We still have more than 24 hours left. Something miraculous can happen in this time. Let's not write it off. Some people are already, they've already written off August. Other people have written off this quarter. Some people have written off 2023, and they're waiting and hoping for a better 2024. No, it's not over until they say the fat lady sings. You've got to keep going right till you cross the finish line. And I think that's so often the case. People quit before the finish line. It's 4:30, time to go home. No, get the job done. Finish. If it takes another 5-10 minutes, maybe an hour, get it done. Show that you have the discipline, the diligence, and the determination to follow through and finish what you start. Gustav, I love that word, diligence. Discipline, which is where discipleship comes from, and diligence. Those are really key, powerful words. I just want to quickly read something that has been said. You guys that are listening and tuned in at the moment, I see there's a bunch of you. We'd like to know who you are. Share something. Post your name, what country you're from. Jane just confirms that what did she say? World-shattering movement that will transform nations. I think she was just reaffirming something that was said in the earlier session, and I think that's what we should be, a world-shattering movement. Gustav, I think I can feel that you agree. What does Rion say? Rion says he's kind of saying there's no such thing as a lost opportunity. Whether it came to fruition or not, you either learn or it works. Simple. I think what he's saying is that everything that you do can teach you something. And somebody was talking this morning, Gustav, and maybe you can talk a bit to this as well as what Rion has been saying there, is he was talking about, and it reminded me of something that I wrote in 2010 when I was preparing for the 2011 year. I wrote gems for the Map for Life of 2011, and the subtitle of that year's book was Live Your Dream. And something that dawned on me is that we use language like shattered dreams, or dreams that were stifled, or something. We have words or phrases in our language, and I realized that nobody can shatter something that's invisible, that doesn't exist except inside of you. If you have a dream that's untouchable, that's in you, it's your imagination, we cannot allow other people to rob that from us, to steal our dream, or to shatter it in a way. And maybe there's people listening to us this evening that feel their dreams have been shattered in some way, and they've given up or they've quit on their dream. And I believe that they can resurrect that dream. It's still alive and well. It's not shattered. It's there. They can pick up, well, we say pick up the pieces. No, they can pick up the dream again. They can pick it up, revive it, and begin to act on it. And once they begin to act on it, that dream will become a reality. So I don't know if you've experienced anything like that in your life, or heard people talk about that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about this idea of maybe shattered dreams or people quitting on their dream.
Yeah, I actually want to go one step back. What was recently, sorry, it's my cat. What recently on radio.
Gustav, I thought you were going to say it's my distraction, but
yeah,
it's your cat.
I just want to control things here. No, what was on the radio was about the recent failure about the moon venture of China, and what they said was it is a successful failure. And the sense was about the successful failure is what it is. The failure is a learning experience.
Yeah.
And it was easy to say, let's quit the program.
Yeah.
Rather than saying we learn from it, so next time we are one step further. And that is one thing that we must keep in mind all the time. That our dreams are not shattered. It may be a distraction, and it's a dream from which we can learn. We can either learn that our dream may not have been clear enough, or that our affirmations were not didn't lead to the discipline, and that we had a mini quit. I call it a mini quit. And
Yes, a moment.
yeah, you quit for the moment, or for the day, or for the 2 days, or for the week, and then you have to pick up the momentum again. So a dream that is, let's call it, the so-called shattered dreams are learning experiences that you can pick up the dream and run with it, or formulate a new dream, or just change the dream a little bit. And that's always important to keep to that side. I always compare to an athlete running or practicing for the gold medal, and an injury is just a delay. It's not a quitting exercise.
You know, you talk about space, and I love, you know, from the very beginning of Map for Life, the first training that I did, I divided the group up into small little teams, and I gave them a task and different tasks. And one of the groups was their goal was to populate Mars. Unknowingly, at the same time, Elon Musk must have heard this task, and he decided we're going to make life multi-planetary, and he's going to build a rocket to go there. And you know, one of the things that's fascinating about their approach is to fail fast. You know, just get going, try, test, learn, try, test, learn, try, test, learn. And they just go through this rapid iteration. And as a result, you know, from an outside perspective, people look and say, oh, there's another rocket that's failed. Another one blew up. Meanwhile, they are excited. Hey, we've learned something new that we shouldn't be doing, and a better way of doing it. And it's this constant improvement. And I think they're not changing the fact that they're making life multi-planetary, or that they're going to be putting a base on the moon and a base on Mars, or in fact, they're not going to put a base on Mars. They're going to make it permanent. They're going to live there. They're not changing that, but my golly, they are doing rapid iteration through failure. So everything that the world perceives as failure, like their big rocket launch sometime in April, I think, this year, the headlines were, you know, the rocket explodes, blows up. But to them, it was a lesson. And I think we can take something from that and say that it doesn't matter what other people's perceptions are of our progress or what we've achieved. But if our vision is clear, then we can learn from that open. And I think Rion has said something or confirmed something along those lines. I don't know if you are able to see the comments on your side at all.
No, unfortunately not at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I think he points out something really important, and that is that if you're, you know, he's talked about having godly or significant dreams. Dreams aligned with your gifts and talents, dreams that are going to bring meaning, that are going to have an impact in other people's lives, that really connect with you. You know, something that keeps you awake at night. You lie there, you can't sleep because you're so excited about the outcome of what this is going to have. It has a real emotional connection. And if your dream doesn't have that, then you're going to become tired of the things that you need to do in order to make that dream a reality. And you're going to get to a point where you just kind of slowly and quietly quit or give up. And yet, as I say that, I also realize that there's a need for the most enthusiastic and passionate people out there to rest and restore and recharge. You know, there is a time where we need to just step back for a moment and just look at the stars again, you know, and see the majesty of possibility out there, and to be reinvigorated by the just creation in its entirety, and then get back at our dream, because our dream is actually a creative process. We are creating something from nothing, as it were. We are bringing something about that never before existed, and I think that's important. So Rian is touching on, I think, something that Zig Ziglar said. He said this. He said, "Godly objectives assure lasting success." And I can affirm that. When I've seen people who have connected with a dream that is not about me, myself, and I, but it has a very strong focus on the upliftment of humanity or serving humanity in some way. Those people never let go of that dream. Whenever you talk to them, they remind you of where they're going. And small step by step, they begin to progress towards that. Rian says
Yes.
something else. Maybe you can talk about this, Gustav. He says, remember, the coldest and darkest time of day is just before the sun rises. When life is at its darkest, the sun, or even the even the stars, I suppose, are the ones that are clear to see. I mean, it's such a nice experience on a completely dark, moonless night to see the Milky Way up in the sky. But for that to happen, there's got to be real darkness out there. And so thanks, Rian, for sharing that, because somebody who's listening this evening might just be at that moment where it looks dark and they're about to see the sunrise. So let's encourage them to do so.
Yeah, it's I think Rian is accustomed to the dark skies in the mountains close to Graskop and that area. And when we went for walks there, we always admired the dark sky with the stars, and also the darkness also helps you to focus and to see the stars also. the many positives around, and I agree. Sometimes going out in the dark night under bright stars, you are able to think again and to refocus and reflect on what is happening to you and where you are going, and like I said, to refocus due to that. There are minimum distractions when it's like that.
Gustav, I like that word that you used, and I don't know if you used it intentionally or not, but you said distractions as opposed to distractions, and I think distractions is exactly what distractions are. Distractions destroy. So I
Yes.
love that. I love that that use of word. I mean, that's going to be part of a Map for Life talk. I can just imagine it right now, and maybe you're going to be the one delivering it. Distractions.
Yeah, you're right. These distractions are not always distractions, but distractions are those things that cause you to quit, or actually challenge you on your road, and which can easily allow you to quit, or let you to quit. Actually,
my son Joshua decided to volunteer. And I say volunteer. A friend of his had a dream to cycle from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Now, those are two cities that are known throughout our MAP membership area or territory. People know those two cities, Cape Town and Johannesburg. And for those who don't know the detail, it's about 1,500 kilometers. And he dreamt of cycling from Johannesburg to Cape Town. And the person who was going to cycle with him quit just a short while before. And so he was really distraught about this. And Joshua just put up his hand and he says, "I'll cycle with you." and there was about 2 months left to go, 2 or 3 months, and he didn't have a bicycle, but somebody was able to provide a bicycle that he could use. They did some training rides together. They prepared themselves, and off they went. And on that journey, there were many opportunities for them to quit. There was a time when they got incredibly ill through food poisoning, but they continued. And when they arrived in Cape Town and reached their destination, despite the rain and the cold wind, they were overjoyed. I remember seeing the video of them running into the ocean and celebrating their arrival. And I had the opportunity to follow them on 2 of the days. And it happened to be in an area where you've been to the Northern Cape.
I know it very well, yes.
Well, this part was, and for those of you listening, maybe you can go and take a look at a map. But it was around Richmond and Hanover. And these are places that are, Hanover had the first observatory in South Africa was on a little koppie, a little hill in Hanover. But today the road passes Hanover. Nobody even knows it exists almost. It's almost a forgotten town. But I will never forget the experience of driving in an area where I felt like I was the only person on the planet. Because I drove ahead of them and there wasn't a house to be seen. There wasn't an animal to be seen. It was just miles and miles of nothingness. There was no radio signal. There was no telephone signal. And I was just thinking, as you were talking, and you were talking about distractions, I was thinking about the quitting the noise. You're extracting yourself out of the noise that's going on in life. I mean, there's so much noise around us right now. There's what they have called in South Africa load shedding. I don't know what Thomas Edison thinks of us here in South Africa, but we have these load shedding moments. But the fascination about the load shedding moments is that the noise is eliminated. And somebody that stays with us talked about the noise of electricity. And I thought that was fascinating, because when the power is off, suddenly there's the silence that you can actually hear. And maybe we need to do that. We need to quit the noise and just extract ourselves from the hustle and bustle of city life and retreat into those quiet places and reconnect with our creative selves. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's very important. If you look at the martial arts, the style that I do, the Goju-Ryu, the hard soft style, we start every exercise with Moxu. Moxu means clear your mind. But clearing your mind doesn't mean, like in yoga, clearing, not thinking. It is basically clearing your mind from distractions, things that is running around you during the day, things that you still had to do, things that actually made you cross. To clear your mind from that, so that you can focus on the training. And at the end of a training session, you do Moxu again. So you clear your mind again from, say, for instance, the exhaustion. You may have been hurt by your opponent. To clear your mind from that and to return back to what you are supposed to do also in life. And I think that is a very important aspect, the Moxu part, that you're talking about as well. And it's always something that I value when I start a a project or working on a project during the day, that I clear my mind. And sometimes my wife doesn't like that, because I tell her, sorry, I can't attend to you now. I have to refocus. And clearing your mind is basically focusing and get your mind in place in what you are doing. And I think that is similar to what you're talking about.
You reminded me of a guy. His name's Mark Gangor or Gandor, or what's his name now? Anyway, he does a very humorous talk on marriage, and he talks about men having their nothing box. You know, that's when their wife asks, "What are you doing?" and you say nothing, then immediately they become suspicious. And he says, "Don't be suspicious. Men actually have a thing called a nothing box." And so maybe there's some other men out there that can relate. But you know, I just thought of something else that I'm going to quit doing, and I would love everyone else to quit this as well. And that is to quit simply existing and start living. Quit existing and start living. And I think everybody can identify with those moments that they've experienced in the past where they felt alive. strangely the times you feel most alive is when you're close to death. You know, when you've had one of those moments when you suddenly, the adrenaline pumps through your body, and in that state you feel alive. But I'm not talking about that kind of feeling. But the same thing happens when you are excited about something. It releases these endorphins that make you, I don't know, they just make you feel like you're buzzing. And there's you know, you feel like the blood in your body is actually doing something. It's taking oxygen to all the right places, and you feel alert, you feel focused, you feel engaged. And so I think quitting existing and starting living is something that we could all do with. You know, there's so much pressure today from outside sources. I mean, demands on our life that we struggle to perhaps meet in some cases. And I think it's because maybe we're just existing and not living life. So why not join us? Gustav, you and I have got a long journey ahead. And the reason I say we have a journey ahead is because we know our destination. And it's the destination that gives the journey its name. And there are people out listening to us tonight that just maybe feel a little bit lost at the moment. They feel like there's no destination. In fact, you know, there might even be people who want to do the unthinkable, and that's to quit on life itself. And the reason they want to quit on life is because they're just existing. They're not living yet. And I listened to somebody some years ago. He says, you know something? If ever I think of quitting on life, I'm going to do it by running. He says, I'm not going to do it by stepping off a high place. He said, because what happens if as you step off, you suddenly realize, oh dear, I shouldn't have done that. He said, you can't, you know, you can't change that. But he says he's going to do it by running. And as he runs, he's going to start thinking to himself, you know something, that wife I've got is not so bad after all. And he used comical things. You know, he said, maybe I'll think that job that I've got is actually, or that boss that I have is not that terrible. And he says, you know, at some point I'm going to get to a point where I can't run anymore. And maybe by that stage, I would have got rid of my desire to quit on life and be ready to start living. And I think that tonight we have had the opportunity to share something of an inspiring nature with others, to get them to feel a zest for life, a zest for life. Gustav, I'm going to ask you to share a last thought or or positive message for those who've tuned in tonight and for those who are going to be listening to this recording. So let's live up to the name of that Anne has given you, and that is good stuff. So let's hear your good stuff as we close tonight.
Yeah, maybe I can conclude. I'm always amazed about people that have a lot of things and they quit life, like getting rid of, removing themselves from the earth. And when you have people that loses everything and they end up with nothing, and they stand up and they make a success. And if you read books about people that made that became, for instance, millionaires or made a success, many of them started at some point in life, they lost everything. And I have an appreciation for that, in the sense that I think by losing everything, you are forced to refocus on your dreams and to refocus on what is your destiny really, and you realize that the other things are actually not so important, because you could survive what you lost. So that's, I think that is something that one can keep in mind.
I think the only things that we should have is the things that we can fit in the final box that we lie in, and maybe that would be a good a good analogy of where our focus should be, is not in things but in the hearts and minds of people. So Gustav,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful conclusion to tonight. Thank you so much. I see there's a couple more comments here. So before we go, let me just see that yes, Ronald from the very northeast part on the border of the DRC. He lives in Uganda. Lovely to have you joining us this evening. And of course, my friend Dr. Yona, he says, stop existing, start living. Makes so much sense. Dr. Yona is from Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. So lovely to have you joining us. Thank you so much, everybody. I can't believe how quick this time has gone. Gustav, your investment to be part of the show tonight is something that will be a reward into the future for many people. Thank you so much for being part of it. Have a wonderful evening further to everybody out over there. Let's go and be mapped. Make a purposeful difference. Good night. Good night, Gustav. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks. Good night.